I'm Eric Welander. Welcome to my channel all about Apple and smart home tech. And Black Friday and Cyber Monday, or whatever they're calling it this year, can be a really great time to save a bunch of money on upgrades to your smart home or gifts you might get for other people. And in this video, I want to go through a bunch of the deals that stand out to me and explain the context of why I think they might be useful to you, so you can decide which of these deals really make sense for what you're looking for. Starting off with one of my favorite home audio companies, Sonos. They have a bunch of deals for Black Friday, including their Arc Ultra soundbar. I reviewed this when it first came out, and it is a very impressive soundbar with a built-in extra subwoofer for bass, more speakers than the original Arc to increase the Dolby Atmos support, and I continue to use mine in my basement home theater. The Arc Ultra is down from $1,099 regular price to $879 sale price. Now, whether it's for the rear surrounds with an Arc Ultra or just somewhere else in your home as a stereo pair for music, I was really impressed when I first tried the Era 100s in a stereo pair. This is Sonos' latest version of their small speaker. It's just a huge upgrade in sound from some of those previous generation speakers. And a stereo pair of Era 100s is down from regularly $438 over on Sonos' website down to $319. Speaking of another product I was really impressed with when I first tried it and continue to use today, and that's the Sonos Sub Mini. That's $100 off, down from $499 to $399. And I find it to be a nice alternative to Sonos's bigger Sub, because if you're like me and you're not totally all about that bass, but you do want just some extra low end, the Sub Mini is a really great option, and like its bigger sibling, it's force canceling, which means that it's not gonna rattle a bunch of stuff around it. You're just gonna feel that low end thump. But no one's gonna wanna come over to listen to your great sound system if your room isn't clean, which is where the first sponsor of today's video, Roborock, comes in. Speaking of big deals for Black Friday, Roborock has lots of discounts across their vacuum lineup, which is why they're sponsoring this video. Roborock recently sent me their Q-Revo Edge S5A, which is a really impressive vacuum, especially considering you can get it through the rest of November for $549.99. And it has a powerful 18,500 pascals of suction to suck up all the hair from my cats and crumbs on the floor. It also has Roborock's Duo Divide main brush to handle pet and human hair. The mops in the back spin at 200 RPM to thoroughly scrub your floors, and the base station washes the mop with 167 degree Fahrenheit hot water to kill 99.99% of the bacteria. Then it dries the mops off automatically. The Q-Revo Edge S5A's mop pads also extend out from the robot, along with the front side brush to clean the edges of rooms. If you don't have a robot that's designed to clean the edges of rooms, it's a massive upgrade. That's where all the dirt and hair actually piles up. I've been testing the Q-Revo Edge S5A in my office and home theater and around my whole basement. It mops the floors, handles the carpet, and even cleans up the bits of cat litter. Taking it up to the first floor, the mopping and vacuuming also do a great job on hardwoods, and it avoids the toys and shoes my kids leave lying around. To learn more about all of Roborock's deals this Black Friday, check out the link at the top of the description. Moving on to Hisense. I've talked a lot about how a home theater with a projector is just a really great thing to have in your home. It can just turn watching any old movie into what feels like a trip to the theater, but with the convenience and all the comfort of your own home, whether it's for a date night for my wife and I after the kids are in bed, or just turning the 157th time this year we watched the Illumination version of The Grinch with the kids into something that feels a lot more cinematic. And the projector I've been using for most of this year has been the Hisense C2 Ultra. And it's discounted for Black Friday down from $2,499 down to $1,869.99, which this is a really good projector to be able to get for under $2,000. It has 3,000 ANSI lumens of brightness, so it's very bright. It has 4K native resolution that's very sharp, and to add to that sharpness, it has what's called optical zoom, which means it has an adjustable throw ratio. Depending on where you need to mount this on your ceiling or on a piece of furniture, you have some flexibility then in the picture size matching up with where you want it on a screen on your wall. So for those spec nerds out there, the throw ratio is from 0.9 to 1.5/1. One downside of this projector is that it only has 2 2 HDMI ports, one of which is for HDMI eARC, but there are a number of different scenarios where that wouldn't be a problem. Maybe you have an AV receiver, or maybe like me, you just really use it with your Apple TV. A new projector that Hisense just sent me is their PT1 Ultra Short Throw projector. So the C2 Ultra mounts in your ceiling or furniture in front of the screen and projects onto it. An Ultra Short Throw projector sits below the screen and then projects up. The PT1 is discounted from just a cent short of $3,000 at $2,999.99 down to $2,499.99. Now, I'll be testing this soon, but it looks like a really impressive projector that supports all the latest picture standards and also supports Apple Home with HomeKit TV as well as other smart home platforms. So a nice option in the ultra short throw space that also comes with smart home controls. One downside is that it's only rated to project up to a 150-inch size picture. Some projectors in this category are rated up to a 300-inch picture, but I mean, even just a 120-inch screen is really big. But no smart home setup would be complete without the final sponsor of today's video, Aqara. So you might be familiar with Aqara for their smart home sensors, surveillance cameras, smart locks, and smart doorbells I talk about on this channel. And of course, those are all on sale for Black Friday. But in this sponsored segment, I want to talk about another area where I think Aqara is underrated and doing a phenomenal job. That's smart lighting. Aqara's Lightstrip T1 is super reliable and has a great range of colors and brightness levels. There are 10 segments that can be individually controlled for different color patterns and effects. And you can also cut the light strip at 7.9-inch intervals and even reattach the cuts with third-party connectors later on. I've been using a Lightstrip T1 for lighting under my bed at night for over a year and it never misses a beat. The Lightstrip T1 is discounted from $49.99 to $37.99 for Black Friday, and the LED extension to make it even longer is also discounted to $11.99. I raved about the ceiling light T1M from Aqara in my recent video on Aqara's new FP300 sensor. The T1M is two lights in one. There's a colored LED accent light with 16 million possible colors around the rim and a bright white light in the middle ranging from 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. Each of these lights appears in smart home platforms like Apple Home as two separate lights, making for a range of possibilities from dim night lights to bright daylight. The T1M is discounted from $149.99 US to $109.99 US. If you're interested in automating your lights with a millimeter wave sensor, the FP2 is over 33% off, down to $54.99. This is an incredibly powerful sensor that can detect presence across multiple zones, fall detection, sleep detection, and more. I'm setting one of these up in my office for some upcoming automations I'll be talking about soon. To see these and all of Aqara's Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals, check out the links near the top of the description. Moving on to another smart home company I love, Eve. They have a lot of great deals for Black Friday, and one new thing they're doing is over on their own website with the Eve store, they have 25% off any individual item purchased from Eve over $50 with code SMART25. There are a few exclusions like bundles. You need to see their terms for details. Another thing to consider is the Eve Energy Matter 2-pack, which is down from $76.95 to $59.95 over on Amazon. And I love the Eve Energy as just a great all-around smart plug. Works with Matter over Thread, pairs with any number of smart home ecosystems you want with that. I actually even talked about it in a recent video. I used it in an automation with my Aqara bridge and my Aqara FP300, but I tend to control mine mostly in Apple Home. They also support energy monitoring. Really useful smart plugs. Those can be nice this time of year to control some extra string lights in your house, maybe a Christmas tree. And related to that, if you don't like having smart plugs outside of your outlet, you can actually get an Eve Energy outlet to replace your wall outlet with one that's smart and works with Matter. So that's nice. It's installed in the wall. The next person who buys the home can also use it with their preferred smart home systems. I have one of these in our bedroom and it's discounted from $54.95 down to $43.95. I also really like Eve's light switch. I have that in my son's room. It's very easy to turn on and off with the capacitive touch. You just tap anywhere in the middle of the switch. It'll turn the light on or off. It also works with Matter over Thread. Surprise, surprise. And it's discounted from $54.95 down to $39.95. Last one on my list for Eve is the Eve Play. This is a really nice way to connect a high-end stereo to Apple's AirPlay system, so you can then stream music to that stereo along with other, let's say, HomePods or devices in your home. This could also be a great gift for the audiophile in your life who also has a little bit of smart home tech. It's down from $164.95 to $99.95. So for about the price of a HomePod Mini, you can get your really nice stereo connected to AirPlay. And then there's also some automation potential there with adding commands in Apple Home when you set the lights a particular way for dinner. Lutron has their pretty standard 20% off Caséta starter kits, as well as 15% off their dimmers. So my picks here would be the Diva Dimmer starter kit. That's their new style, and the starter kit comes with their Caséta wireless bridge. You need to connect your smart switches, as well as one dimmer and one what's called a Pico remote, which is their little remote. And you can put those on a pedestal on an end table. You can just mount them to the wall with the sticky pad they come with. You can put them actually on the wall to look like a light switch, even when there's not a switch box behind it. Or you could install it inside of a switch box. Incredibly versatile Pico remote. Not to mention the whole Lutron system here. We could go on for a long time, but the starter kit is discounted from $124.95 down to $99.95. And then their Diva Dimmer alone, if you already have the Lutron system or just want more dimmers, is discounted from $74.20 down to $59.46. I would love to see Lutron put their Claro switch or other just light switches on sale, but unfortunately, that's not happening this time. And there's always good old reliable Philips Hue. Now, Philips Hue has been changing a lot of things about their system in 2025, and I'll be making a video about some of that coming soon on the channel. But you can get a lot of their previous generation bulbs on nice discounts right now, which I still think are a good buy and will last you for years to come with the Philips Hue system. So an A19 kind of standard size light bulb, 60 watt equivalent 3-pack of the color bulbs is down from $147.99 to $79.91. So expensive price for smart bulbs, but again, Philips Hue, very well made, very reliable. They've been doing this for longer than anybody. And if you need the BR30 or sort of can light style bulbs, you can get a 3-pack of those for about the same. It's $10 more expensive. So $179.97 discounted down to $89.97. Now those are both the 800 lumen or 60 watt equivalent, as Philips Hue describes it, bulbs, which are bright but not super bright. So if you want the 75 watt or 100 watt equivalent light bulbs from Philips Hue, you can get 2 packs of most of those for 30% off direct on Philips Hue's store. The Philips Hue HDMI sync box, which is the system that takes the HDMI video signal coming to your TV and then extracts the color options from it to then give you nice lighting around your TV, complementary bias lighting. That's actually on sale, discounted from $384.99 down to $269.99. I've played with the Govee version of this. I've not played with the Philips Hue Sync Box, but it always is revered as like the gold standard of this kind of a thing. It's also not something that I'm really keen on. I've always tried to keep an open mind and try these different systems that sync your lights around your TV with your TV. It's kind of cool, but it's just not really for me. Moving on to a company that's new to me in 2025, and that's Lafaer. They have a wireless presence sensor. So if you want to get one of those millimeter wave sensors and you need it to run on batteries, you can't run continuous power to it, Lafaer's sensor is discounted from $49.90 down to $35.12 over on Amazon. I have not done a thorough review of this sensor, but I do have one and I do plan to make a video on it. The other cool detail about this sensor is that you can run it on batteries or you can plug it in with USB power. It's also specially certified to work with the Homey automation system. So if that's something you're into, the Lafaer sensor might be of special interest to you. Sleekpoint has a bunch of discounts across both their air purifiers and smart locks. One I think is worth your attention if you're in the market for it is the Thorbolt Mark I. This is the latch lock, or basically the doorknob that locks replacement, and that's discounted from $89.99 down to $71.99. This is a lock that works great in Apple Home, also has a fingerprint sensor and a keypad on it, and I continue to have one on my office door here at home. Now, SwitchBot is a company that I haven't talked a lot about on my channel, but based on what I saw from SwitchBot at CES in January and then again at IFA in Berlin in September, I am really impressed with all the work SwitchBot's doing and just so many different new products coming out from them. And I'll be talking more about SwitchBot on this channel. But one thing they recently sent me that I've just started playing with that's on sale for Black Friday is their air purifier with the table. They have an air purifier without the little table. I like having the little table. It helps me charge my iPhone Air, and it's also now supports Matter over Wi-Fi, which means you can use it without a SwitchBot hub. And it's discounted from $199.99 down to $165.99. Although contrary to the product shots on Amazon, a cute corgi is not included with your purchase. Sorry. Now, while the air purifier doesn't need to have a SwitchBot hub, if you want to upgrade to the newest SwitchBot hub, both to tie in the air purifier or many other SwitchBot products into Matter, into Apple Home, and do some other automations, the SwitchBot Hub 3, their latest generation hub, is discounted from $119.99 down to $79.99. This hub has all kinds of extra features and bells and whistles on it, and it's also just a nice display of the temperature and humidity and the time. There are also ways you can tie in different aspects of it into smart home controls, both in SwitchBot and other systems. One of those ultra flexible, ultra powerful devices that I look at and I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this in my smart home, but pretty cool. Moving on to Govee, they have a lot of different deals, but I want to call out their tree floor lamp. I have one of these here in my office, and it is really great. I love this lamp. Each of the tubes can extend or contract to change the size of the light it projects onto the wall. And of course, it supports many different colors, works with Matter. It's discounted from $169.99 down to $118.99. Now, Govee's Uplighter floor lamp, which I've seen at a number of trade shows and looks really cool, that's discounted from $179.99 down to $125.99. That's the one that gives you a reading light below, but then can also project all kinds of cool patterns onto your ceiling. Ultraloq has a new-ish lock that I'm going to be playing with soon, and that's their Bolt NFC. This, they claim, is the world's first lock to support NFC from Apple with Apple HomeKey and NFC tap to unlock for Android as well. So if you have a mixed household of iPhone and Android and you want to tap to unlock, this could be a really good option to consider. And it's discounted from $199.99 to $139.99. Now, I plan to have more of a review on this lock coming on the channel, so stay tuned for that, but still a good deal I wanted to call out here. Speaking of smart locks, Nuki has their US deadbolt and keypad combo for the usual price of $229, but then there's a 20% off coupon for Black Friday if you clip it in Amazon. So you got to check that box, then you get 20% off that, and it brings it down to $199. So just under $200 for a really high-end retrofit deadbolt smart lock with a paired keypad. So retrofit deadbolt means that you keep your existing keys and the outside of your deadbolt looks exactly the same. You just replace the inside of it, and then you get a nice keypad to go with it. So then you can give people PIN codes for your lock. So it could be a really great option for renters or people who just want to keep their same keys. And it's designed by a great team in Austria I met when I was over at IFA. I reviewed it earlier this year, installed one at my parents' place, and definitely has that high-end metal construction that feels great in a nice home or apartment. Now, this is just scratching the surface of Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals. And if you head over to my website, ericw.org/deals, I'll have links to all of these as well as many, many more. And that's going to be ongoing throughout the year as I'm told about or discover different deals or discounts, I will post them there on my website. And thanks again to Roborock and Aqara for sponsoring this video. You can find links to their products at the top of the video description. I'll also link all the products I mentioned in this video down in the description below, so you can get those right here. Now, while I'm based here in the US, and I know a lot of you are, a lot of people also watch from other countries. And unfortunately, it's just an individual creator doing this as a part-time job. I don't have the time and ability to go through all the deals from all the different countries. I'd like to be able to in the future, but that's just not possible right now. Although a lot of these companies I mentioned and linked to are global and do sell in a lot of other places in the world, and chances are the deals mentioned for the US also correlate to similar deals in your country and your currency. So try some of the links, do some searching, and I think these still should point you in the direction of some potentially good deals, albeit maybe not the exact same prices. Thanks again so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.